The meeting will come to order. I note that a quorum is present and each member has before them copies of the material on our agenda today and at their place at the rostrum. Good morning, my friends, and thank you for joining us for the first business meeting of the House Agriculture Committee of the 113th Congress. Before we begin the business at hand, I would like to say I am honored to serve a second term as chairman of the committee. Many of you know my background, but for those of you who don't, let me just simply mention I'm a fifth-generation farmer, an Ag Econ major from Oklahoma State University, and a member of this committee since I was first elected to Congress. It is a privilege to continue in this leadership role as a voice for production agriculture on behalf of America's farmers, ranchers, and rural constituents. Second, I'd like to highlight the work of our committee in the last Congress. I'm proud of our efforts, and I thank every member who played a part. We provided valuable oversight of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and the Environmental Protection Agency to ensure that our agricultural producers are not burdened with unreasonable and costly regulations. And we advanced a strong, reform-minded, fiscally responsible farm bill during a committee markup that demonstrated the true spirit of bipartisanship. We worked together to make certain policy was responsible to the taxpayers and worked for all producers in all regions of the country. This is a new Congress and a new opportunity to reauthorize a 5-year comprehensive farm bill. And I pledge to work with the Secretary, the ranking member Peterson, and members of this committee, my House and Senate colleagues, and all interested parties to complete our work and ensure our investment in American agriculture. It will take all of us working together to get it done. Now, that process begins today by formally organizing the committee and welcoming new members. We'll be voting on the rules of the committee in the 113th Congress. We'll maintain the enhanced transparency standards that were ushered in under the leadership and initiative of Speaker Boehner in the last Congress. This includes placing the text of bills online for our constituents no fewer than 24 hours before a business meeting. We'll also continue to provide both live and archived broadcasts of our hearings and markups. At this time, I'd like to welcome back our veteran members and introduce the 8 new GOP members who are joining us this Congress. First, let me begin my introductions in Alabama, where we welcome back an old friend, a former and now returning member of the House Agriculture Committee. Mike Rogers brings with him committee experience and knowledge of agriculture that will be an asset to all of us. Thank you for joining us, Mike. Dan Benishek is serving his second term as a member of Congress. He comes to us from northern Michigan, where he worked as a general surgeon in a private practice. And not only, I should say, as I turn to our next member, not only is Jeff Denham an almond farmer from California, he also served 16 years in the U.S. Air Force. His military service includes fighting in Operation Desert Storm in Iraq and Operation Restore Hope in Somalia. And he's joined by another Californian, Doug LaMalfa, who kicks off our freshman introductions. Doug earned his degree in agriculture and business and manages the family farm operation that his grandfather founded in 1931. And starting anything in 1931 was an amazing accomplishment, Doug. We'll have another strong voice for agriculture in Richard Hudson, who hails from the Tar Heel State. He's no stranger to the legislative process or agricultural issues. Rodney Davis comes to us from central Michigan, where he's worked in a variety of public service positions. Well, I'll be. Now, being an Okie, I don't always pretend to understand all the great geography of the nation, but I understand there's a huge difference. So, Rodney from central Illinois will be a great asset to the committee. Chris Collins is an entrepreneur and small businessman from New York with both private and public sector experience. And finally, Ted Yoho, a large animal veterinarian from north central Florida's 3rd Congressional District. And as every cattleman and cattlewoman knows, large animal vets are an important part of your life. Again, I welcome all of you to the Agriculture Committee. I look forward to working with my colleague and friend from Minnesota, Ranking Member Colin Peterson, and along with our veteran and new committee members as we move forward with policies that will help support a strong and vibrant rural America. And with that, I turn to the ranking member for his opening statement.
Good morning, and thank you, Chairman Lucas, for holding the first official meeting of the House Ag Committee in the 113th Congress, and I look forward to working with you again this session. As our returning members know, and our new members will quickly learn, the Ag Committee is traditionally one of the least partisan committees, and we hope to keep it that way. We may have disagreements, but we work very hard to listen and understand each other, and I'm hopeful we'll continue this tradition in the 113th Congress. Obviously, things didn't quite work out the way we wanted last year with respect to the Farm Bill, so we're operating under an extension of the 08 bill, which actually, we did when I was chairman, so I'm not all that upset about that. And I'm hopeful that we can get a new Farm Bill finished this year. I think you all have heard my frustration, but I've had a couple of discussions with the Speaker, including just a half hour ago. So I think we're going to figure out some way to sit down and see how we can move ahead with this. So we're going to do that, and I'm optimistic that we'll figure out some new strategy that can make this work. There are issues beyond the Farm Bill that the committee needs to address. We have CFTC reauthorization this year. We also, need to continue our oversight over the CFTC and the implementation of the Wall Street reforms, Title VII, that was our part of the bill. And we'll work with you folks to make sure we keep a close eye on the EPA and keep them reined in as much as possible. So again, I'm looking forward to continuing working with you, Mr. Chairman. And I now want to welcome our new members. We have 11 new members on the Democratic side so far, and I think we have one more to fill. And I don't know, I talked to a couple of the members. Apparently, there must be some kind of a rule that we have to get this done by today or something. Because all of the committees are meeting now. So there may be some members that are in other committees and may not be able to be here right now. So, but first we have Susan Delbonnay, who represents Washington's 1st District. This is a district that has diverse agriculture, raspberries, dairy, blueberries, especially potatoes, vegetable seeds. Many of the farmers in the district are leaders in applying research and technology innovations, and so she's, I know, excited to be on the committee. Next, we have Gloria Negrete McLeod. How did I do? Who represents the 35th District of California. She has interest in facilitating nutritious food, access to schools and urban areas, as well as protecting federal programs that prevent hunger among disadvantaged communities. So we welcome her. Philemon Vela, is that close? Represents the, I told him yesterday I'm a Scandinavian. I have a hard time with this, but if it's not Peterson or Johnson or something. But Philemon represents the 34th District of Texas. Ag in the district is very diverse, and many of the district producers have been impacted by drought. So he hopes to expand and improve disaster relief programs that are critical to South Texas agriculture. So welcome. Michelle Lujan Grissom represents the 1st District of New Mexico. She will focus on water policy, dairy, and nutrition, all of which are important in New Mexico. In addition, she owns 15 chickens. Says on here. Free range, I hope. Ann McLean Custer represents the 2nd District of New Hampshire. She is passionate about expanding economic opportunity in rural communities through the development of renewable energy, investments in infrastructure, and the conservation of American forests and farmland. So welcome. Rick Nolan represents the 8th Congressional District of Minnesota, which is right to the east of my district. And some of his area I used to represent. And some of the area that he used to represent, I now represent, because Rick was a member of Congress from 1975 to 1981. So He is back on the Ag Committee. He was a member back then. He's back on the Ag Committee after 32 years. So he got some experience that we may call upon. Northeast Minnesota includes thousands of acres of timber, lands, and forests. Also has dairy and other ag interests in other parts of the district. As I said, he served on the Ag Committee before, chairing the Subcommittee on Family Farms and Rural Development. So, Rick, welcome. Pete Gallego represents the 23rd District of Texas. He looks forward to advocating for farmers, ranchers, rural areas, and families. Ag production in the 23rd District was estimated at $1.55 billion in 2011. The estimated 40,400 jobs in the area depend on production and sales of ag commodities for some portion of their income. So welcome, Pete. Bill Yenyard represents Illinois' 12th District. Growing up, he spent summers doing farm work for his grandparents. I can relate to that. Agriculture plays an integral role in Southern Illinois economy and is deeply committed to standing up for farmers as they overcome one of the worst droughts in decades in his part of the world. Juan Vargas represents the 51st District of California, including National City, where he was raised on a chicken ranch. The district's Imperial County provides 80% of the nation's fresh winter fruits and vegetables and is one of the nation's top 5 vegetable-producing counties. He has a strong commitment to supporting agriculture with a focus on common-sense solution to solving labor shortages. Sherry Bustos represents the 17th District of Illinois. She comes from a long line of Illinois farmers and represents a region where agriculture is the #1 industry. Her district not only includes millions of acres of farmland, but is a world headquarters of Caterpillar and John Deere. And Sean Patrick Maloney represents the 18th District of New York, home of a wide variety of ag interests, especially crop producers and dairy farms. He also co-founded and served as Chief Operating Officer for Kyodex, is that right? A risk management software firm for commodity traders. So we welcome all of the new members on our side and on the Republican side, and look forward to working, Mr. Chair, with you and everybody to have a successful 113th Congress in the Ag Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Ranking Member. And before I recognize you for a motion, I'd simply note to the members, and especially the new members in attendance for the first of what will be many meetings to come, the manner in which the Ranking Member have always operated by and will continue to operate by is to use your time wisely and as expeditiously as possible. We will treat everyone in the fairest possible fashion, and in a very bipartisan fashion, we'll mangle your names. There are some things consistent. With that, does the Ranking Member seek recognition to offer a motion?
I do, Mr. Chairman. I move that in consultation with the Ranking Member, that you be authorized to act for the committee in matters affecting staff and administration of the committee.
Is there discussion on that motion? Discussion? If not, all those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do appear to have it. The ayes indeed have it, and the motion is adopted. The next item of business is the committee rules for the 113th Congress, and I'd like to recognize the council for a brief explanation of the changes to the rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The en bloc amendment makes the following changes to the committee rules. Rule 2 is amended by striking the requirement to cancel a regular meeting that was not noticed by the chairman pursuant to Clause 2G3 of House Rule 11. The amendments to Rules 5 and 8 in items 3 and 4 are typographical corrections. The change to Rule 8 in items 5 and 6 strikes the requirement for a constitutional authority statement in reports the committee files to accompany bills or measures passed by the committee, and includes 2 new requirements. A committee report now must file the number of duplicative programs reauthorized or created by the bill and the number of directed rulemakings required by the bill or measure. Rule 9 is amended to require that the committee only file an activities report annually. Rule 10 is amended to reflect the titles and jurisdictional statements of the several subcommittees. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I recognize the Ranking Member for a further motion.
Chairman, I move that the committee approve the committee rules for the 113th Congress, which are the rules that were in effect during the 112th Congress, with changes as described by council.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing no discussion, if not, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, saying nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do indeed have it, and the motion is adopted. Without objection, pursuant to House Rule 11, Clause 2A, the rules of the Committee on Agriculture for the 113th Congress will be submitted to the House for publication in the Congressional Record. There being no further business, the committee is now adjourned, subject to the call of the chair.